What's up, guys? It's Brent with Lykins Motorsports. This is our small block Ford tunnel port build, and we're going to be putting the cylinder heads on today, as well as measuring for push rods. So should be an interesting day of making progress on this engine. It's kind of been slow going, waiting on parts, waiting on machine work, that sort of thing. But we're going to get the heads on. I've already cleaned off our deck surfaces. We've got some Velcro cylinder head gaskets that we're going to use, and we're going to start with the passenger side head. Got our ARP cylinder head bolts ready. These are 1/2" bolts because the block takes a 1/2" bolt. The cylinder heads were set up for a 7/16, so we had to open up all the cylinder head bolt holes in the heads to make everything fit. But we're going to be able to make some progress, and I hate to cover up all this awesome looking internal stuff that we won't be able to see once the heads are on. Nice crosshatch on the cylinders, custom pistons with a ceramic coating, gas ported, a little bit of a dome, good stuff. Alright, let me get my camera set up and we'll get these heads on. So Velcro offers these big bore standard material style gaskets, and I actually like to prefer to use these when I can. The Cometics and the other MLS gaskets are nice, but they have rivets on them. And on a small block Ford, it just gets to be a hassle sometimes to dodge all these rivets, especially on an 8200 deck. We're about, I don't know, 11 1/4 to 1 compression on this, so it's not like we're going to have a ton of cylinder pressure. So we'll use these gaskets and won't have to worry about the rivets. The bore size is much larger than our cylinder bore, which is cylinder bore is 4155. These are 4200 gaskets, so we're going to be in good shape on that. I want to get a couple of bolts ready to go here. We'll set this first cylinder head on. Just going to put a couple bolts in here so the head won't fall off. Then I'll get my other ARP bolts set up with the lubricant and get those threaded in. So I use this ARP lube, and most people don't know this. For one thing, there's a chamfer on the inside of that washer. The washer, or that chamfer, goes towards the head of the bolt. Put some lubricant on the threads. You can be liberal if you want. And then some on the underside of the head of the bolt. You never want to put any on this side, always on the head side. So my can is about empty. What I do, I buy so many sets of rods and use so many sets of rods that they always come with these little packets. So I save them up, and if my can gets low, I just squeeze it in there and fill it back up. Alright, we've got our heads torqued down. I want to set this intake on here just temporarily, just to see how our ports line up and if we're going to need any more material cut off the gaskets, surfaces, flanges. So you can see what I see here. I don't know how well you can see it. Let me see if I can get you down in here. So the intake manifold is a little smaller than the head port, which is fine. Have room. I'm not seeing the roof, the top part of the intake port, or the intake port in the cylinder head. So I think gasket thicknesses are usually about 60 thousandths, so I think I should be okay with my gasket on there. So they don't make gaskets for these engines anymore, obviously. They're so very rare. You can't just pop open a Summit Racing catalog and find a gasket for a 68 tunnel port small block. So we'll have to make some gaskets, and I'll snag some 60 thousandths gasket material, and I think we'll be okay without any cutting. Went ahead and had the flanges just skim cut just to make sure that they were straight and true, and like I said, I think we're going to be in good shape there. So I'm going to pull this intake manifold off. We're going to pop a couple lifters in and mock up our rocker arms and check for push rod length. All right, these are our DLC coated tool steel lifters, and I was almost in a panic thinking that I wouldn't be able to get them down in there. Just doing this for mock-up purposes. Now we'll bolt our rocker arm setup on. Alright, so here's how this works. This mounting bar bolts to the cylinder heads with these 2, 4, 6, 8 bolts. And we use these T&D rocker pairs that go on like that. So it's real easy to set up the valve train. And what we'll do is we'll roll the engine over. So this is our intake lifter, this is our exhaust lifter. We're going to check the intake first. There's the intake coming up. It needs to be going back down. And when that exhaust lifter starts up, then we can put our push rod length checker in and get the length of our push rod for this intake rocker. So this is not a pedestal or a stud mounted rocker. So not a stud mounted rocker, you don't control the geometry with the push rod. The geometry is set up by either raising or lowering this bar, this common bar. The push rod length is just the push rod length. We're just connecting the 2 points. So if I know that my intake lifter is on the heel of the lobe, then all we have to do is set our position for our adjuster. T&D says that they want this backed out all the way and then screwed in 1 full turn. That's your initial position. Then we'll put our feeler gauge in with the lash that we're supposed to have and just connect the 2 points. Alright, that's all the way out. So there's a half turn, there's a full turn. We're gonna lock this down. Then I'm gonna also do this one. If I grab the right size wrench, make things a whole lot easier. Alright, so half turn, full turn, lock down. Alright, then this can come off, and then we can put our push rod length checker in. Alright, it doesn't have to be perfect because we do have adjustment, but what we're doing, we're just trying to get close, and I'm lengthening my checker to get the right amount of drag. So once that's done, we can check that out. I can also check and see how big of a push rod I think I can fit. Let me get you in here closer. So we've got really good clearance around the push rod there. Can't really see here. What we'll do is we'll take a light and we'll roll the engine over and look. But this is a 5/16 checker. And we got a mile clearance. So I'm thinking I can easily fit a 3/8 push rod in there, and that's what I'll order for that. What we'll do right now, we'll snug these bolts up, and push rod length checker is a good one, and it's pretty much all screwed into each other. So I think what I can do is go ahead and open the valve and see what kind of clearance I have. So the push rod does move up towards the top of the tube at full valve lift. But I still believe that I can fit a 3/8 push rod in there with room to spare. So that's what we'll do. So this will be the length of our intake push rod. .6842, which is dangerously close to 6850. So I will order some 3/8 135 wall 6850 length push rods for the intake side. Alright, I had to do some modifications on this bar because the rocker arms were hitting, and looks like I may have to do just a little bit more, but got it to where I can adjust the lash for now. So We're going to look and see how much clearance we got in our pushrod tube. We don't have very much. That's what's bothering me right now. This is a 5/16 checker. I know we're not going to be able to run a 3/8, but I think we may be able to run a 11/32. Any wall thickness or any diameter that I can get away with, that's what I'm going to do. And 11/32 over 5/16 is just about 15 thousandths per side. It doesn't sound like much, but it's a lot in the overall scheme of things. I'm going to roll this over and see what this does at lift. And check out our clearance. So got good clearance there. I think the 11/32 is going to be the way that I'm going to go. That will that'll keep me away from the side. And here's the length. The battery's getting ready to die. But here's the length of our exhaust push rod. So 6.894. We're going to go for 6.900. All right, so we got a lot done today, and pleased with the progress. We got the heads bolted on. We get to order push rods because we got those measured, and I had to clearance this bar because the rocker arms were hitting. So we got a lot done. Waiting for an oil pan to come back. It was modified by Kevco. Let's see what else. I need to go ahead and order our dry sump pump. We got our tank in, a nice 3-gallon tank from Peterson, and I'm gonna have to find a way to mount that temporarily to probably the driver's side head. So we got a little bit of work to do yet. Need to order some gasket material so I can make my gaskets. So overall, we're not too far away from a completed engine, but we just got a lot of detail work to knock out. All right, guys. Hope that does it for this weekend. Hope you're having a good week. We're making some progress. Hope you are too. New Year's Day is coming up, so happy New Year's Day to everybody if I don't talk to you before then. Otherwise, have a good day. I'll see you later.